welcome back to Pre-Calculus class. This is homework number 1 of week 5. So let's begin there. Here we are. We ask you to describe the differences between the two graphs, and we do not give you the name of each graph. So let's hope that you will be able to find out which one is cosine, which one of sine. Okay. So here we are. Let's start with the first graph. You can see that the two graphs, they do not have the same y-intercept. On the first graph, the y-intercept is 1. And then for my second graph, the y-intercept is 0. So if you go back and study the unit circle one more time. Okay, so at 0 radian, the point is 1, 0. Okay, so it means cosine of 0 is 1, sine of 0, because cosine is x and sine is y, so sine of 0 is 0. So I can see right here that at 0 is 1, so I can say this, the name of this function. This is the cosine function. And then now look at the next graph. I can see right here that at 0 is 0, so it has to be the sine function. So this will be the sine function. Now it's okay to put to insert the parentheses. If not, then you can just leave it like this without parentheses. That will be okay. So far we can see that the two graphs, they have different y-intercept. They have different name. Okay, and also let's talk about the pattern. The pattern for the y values. Okay, so let's start with here. Right here, my y value is 1, y value 0, y value is -1, 0, and 1. So you have for the cosine be 1, 0, -1, 0, and 1. Now let's go to the sine. You can see that y value is 0, y value is 1, 0, -1, 0. So you have 0, 1, 0, -1, 0. So the two graphs, they have different pattern of the y value. Okay, so now we can see, we can make a conclusion for ourselves. From now on, if we look at the graph, if it has the y-intercept at a positive number, then we can conclude that will be cosine. Now what happens if the y-intercept is a negative number? Like if I have a graph look like this, it's still a cosine function, but it will be a reflection of the cosine function. So in this case, it will be y equal negative cosine of x. So you insert a or you multiply a -1 to your function. Now, if the graph have the y-intercept at 0, then we can conclude that will be the sine graph. Okay, so it's very easy, simple. Sine graph have the y-intercept at 0. Cosine graph have the y-intercept at 1 or whatever that integer, but have to be on the y-axis. It cannot be at 0. Okay. So now let's begin to write the function from a graph. Okay, so these are the steps how to find the equation or the function y equal a sine bx or y equal a cosine bx from a given graph. I'm going to ask you to write these 4 steps to your notebook, please, and then we are going to do the example right away. Step number 1, we are going to identify the graph, a sine or cosine graph, by finding the y-intercept of the graph. So again, remember, we just say we just say that if the y-intercept is at 0, then this will be sine graph. Okay. If the y-intercept is at 1 or whatever that integer is, it can be negative, that could be okay. So that could be cosine graph. If it is a negative, then we just do the reflection across the x-axis. Okay. Step 2, we are going to find the amplitude. Okay. Remember the formula for the amplitude is half of the maximum minus the minimum. So, and I make a note for you. Your A will be equal the amplitude, or your A will be equal negative amplitude if the graph reflects across the x-axis. So I mean, if I have a graph of cosine like this, right? So now my A will be negative number. So my amplitude will be a positive, but then when I substitute for my A, I will put the negative in front. Okay, so this is your A. And for your sine graph, if you have a reflection across the x-axis, so now your A is a negative number. A equal negative amplitude. This is A equal positive amplitude. Okay. So that's what we mean for step number 2. Step number 3, you are going to find the period using the formula 2 pi over b equal period, and then you solve for b. Okay, so using this formula, substitute the number for your period, and then you need to solve for b. So basically, when you solve for b, you just go ahead and multiply both sides by b, and then divide both sides by the period. Okay. I can make a note right here, or b equal 2 pi divided by period. And lastly, step number 4, you are going to substitute the value of your A and B into the equation, either the sine equation or cosine equation to find the equation for the graph. Okay, so go ahead and write this note down, and then we are going to do the example now. Okay, so make sure that you have this note down. Okay, so I'm going to start with the example. So in this example, we are asking you to write or find an equation for this graph. So the first thing you are going to do is that step number 1, you determine is it a sine or cosine. So first you look at the y-intercept, right? So y-intercept is 0. So therefore I can conclude right away this is the sine graph. So y equal a sine b of x. So that will be my step 1. Okay. So step number 2, I'm going to find the amplitude. Okay, so step 2, so this is step 1. This is step 2. I'm going to find amplitude. Okay, so amplitude will be half of y maximum minus minimum. So then you go look at this graph here. I assume what my y maximum, which is, I can see right here would be 3, right? So right here y maximum is 3. So 3 minus y minimum, but I do not see a complete graph, so I do not see my y minimum. So what you're doing right here, that you are going to complete the graph, right? You want to see the entire period of the graph, so you can see right here the graph will be like this, and it will end at, so this is half the graph, 2 pi, so that at the end the graph will be 4 pi. And I'm so sorry that it's kind of crowded here, you cannot see well enough. So let me rewrite it right here, 1/2 maximum minus minimum. So if your maximum is 3, your minimum will be -3. So right here be -3. Okay, so now you are going to simplify, so you end up with 1/2 times the absolute. Now 3 minus -3 become 3 plus 3 be 6. Okay, so 1/2 times absolute of 6 is just 1/2 times 6, so 6 divided by 2. So I conclude that my amplitude is 3. Now I'm looking at this graph right here. This is compared to my sine graph. So this is the sine graph right here. If I compare it to the sine graph, I can see right here that it it doesn't reflect across the x-axis compared to my parent function. So it means my a is still positive. So I can make a conclusion right here that a is 3. Okay, so we're done with step 2. Now let's move on to step 3. So step 3, you are going to find periods. Okay, so periods first. So you have periods is 4 pi, right? Because you can see right here the complete 5.1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is one complete pattern of your y value, so be 4 pi. And then so now you are using the formula 2 pi over b equal 4 pi. So now you are going to solve for b, right? So then b equal 2 pi divided by 4 pi. So cancel the pi, so you have 2 over 4, so b equal 1/2. So now we can conclude that our equation will be, so I've run out of space, I'm going to write them down right here. So therefore step number 4, I'm going to write down the equation for this graph will be y equal, my a is 3, this is a sine function, my b is 1/2, and the variable x. That's it. Thank you. This is the end of this video. Make sure you write down what you learned from this video for us, such as how to write equation from a graph by finding, list all the steps, finding a and b objects. I see you next class. Goodbye.